But let's talk about your manager, Mikel Arteta.
Yep.
This weekend against Fulham on Saturday, you're going to that game, I know, will mark his 100th Premier League game in charge. Right? Took over the club in 2019, right at the end, December 2019.
Yep.
So he's been here, 2.5, coming up for 3 years. What have you made, what have Arsenal fans made of his time there?
I think he's done a good job. I know a lot of Arsenal fans are split. There's still some now that say if Arsenal want to return to the kind of glory days, he's not the right man to do it, but I believe he is. You look at this season, it looks like there's a clear identity. I think that kind of started from last season when he brought in the likes of Ramsdale, Ben White, I know Tavares has gone back out, Lokonga. He was obviously trying to get a core of young players in the door, the emergence of Saka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, bringing these guys in. He obviously wanted to bring the age right down, getting rid of some of the big characters like Aubameyangs, Ozil's. Obviously, I know that was the season before, but he's had to make big decisions on some of the players. And then you add it to what we've bought this summer in Gabriel Jesus, Fabio Vieira, Zinchenko. You can quite clearly see what he's trying to do. I think what maybe gave him a little bit of state of execution is that he won the FA Cup so soon. Because obviously Arsenal went for a bad period. You talked about, what was it, 8th in his first season. I know he only came there kind of late, 8th. Then 8th in his first full season, 5th last season, and obviously they're currently sitting top where they are. I think if he doesn't win the FA Cup and beating Chelsea and Man City in the run, Man City in the semis, Chelsea in the final, he might not have been given the time that he's been given, but I think it was the right decision to keep him. I think he's made strides. 5th last season, a lot of fans would say he should have got 4th, and it was in Arsenal's hands and they blew it. But I think you can see the progressions there. 8th, 5th, and now look at them top this season.
Let me ask you this. So at the moment, as things currently stand, if Arsenal win at the weekend, that'll be his 53rd win as Arsenal manager. That'll be 15 more than what George Graham managed at the same time, and 1 less than Arsene Wenger during that same period, right?
Well, listen, if he's in any conversation with them guys, those type of guys.
So this is what I was going to ask you, right? I'm talking about 2 top managers that know exactly what it means and takes to build a championship winning side, right? By that I mean, Premier League, but you understand where the word championship fits in there. Mikel Arteta, right? Do you, as an Arsenal fan, do you see him one day being good enough to win the league with Arsenal?
I do, yeah, 100%. If they recruit,
do you?
Yeah, I do. If the recruitment's right. Look what he's done just in this window with the two players that have made an impact. I know he's made a few more, like as I said, Vieira and Marquinhos. I understand that, but with Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, look at the difference that's made.
Huge,
absolutely massive. What that's done. So I think if he keeps building, and you've got to think as well. You look at the likes of George Graham and Arsene Wenger. The mentality of a football has changed since them days to now. Everything has changed. Do you know what I mean? There's more money in football now. That means there's bigger egos. So he's having to deal with all that. He's had to make a couple massive decisions where some of the fans could have turned the Aubameyang situation, only goal scorer we had at the club, when Lacazette was going for a bit of a dry spell and Nketiah weren't sure whether he was ready, but he stuck to his guns. And now look at Arsenal Football Club. I know it's still early, but I'd rather be in the position they are now this time around than they were this time last year.
Of course. What's his aim? You look at Man City, right? And if Pep sat down with his board at the beginning of the season, his board would say, well, listen, we need a trophy.
Win everything.
Win everything. Win the Premier League. Win the Champions League. I get that. They probably won't. They might not. They might. I don't know. Right? Probably the same conversation with Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, win everything.
Okay. With Eric Ten Hag, I'm guessing at the beginning of the season...
Get back in the top 7. I get that.
It was probably we need Champions League football.
Yeah, of course.
Right? What is that conversation with Arteta and
Same
the Arsenal
thing.
board?
Progression. Get yourself back into the Champions League. Probably win the Europa or win some kind of competition. Because I think Arsenal are good enough to win a trophy, FA Cup, League Cup. But I think that the biggest aims this season has got to be you have to finish in the top 4 or win the Europa. But I think more so finish in the top 4 if they could do both.
What's more important to you as an Arsenal fan, top 4? Because you get one with the other, if that makes. If you win the Europa, you get top 4 effectively.
I would rather Arsenal. It's a difficult one because a trophy's a trophy.
Yeah.
Now, either way, you win the Europa, you're back in the league. But I don't think it shows real progression if Arsenal finish 7th, 8th,
and win the Europa. I agree with you.
I don't think that shows progression. Yeah, they've won a competition and they're back in the Champions League, but that's not a sign of a team going forward. Because cup runs, you can be a bit lucky, can't you, with the draw and etc. etc. But if Arsenal was to finish comfortably, even 3rd, 2nd in the Premier League. That shows progression.
Shows consistency as well.
Consistency.
Yeah. Okay. Just last question as well. When I've spoken about Arsenal many a time on the Sports Bar, and this is obviously going back to when there was ups and downs at Arsenal, it was split 50-50, 60-40 amongst Arsenal fans as to whether or not they're happy with Arteta. We're opening up the lines now for Arsenal fans. What is that split now? Is it 90-10? Is it 80-20?
I still think it's about maybe 70-30.
Do you really? You think there's 30% of Arsenal fans still not happy?
Because it'd be really hard for an Arsenal fan to sit here with their hand on their heart and say they're not happy with the job he's doing right now.
Okay.
But you know, it won't take long if the wheels start to fall off. Then they're going to come out again and say he's not good enough.
Okay. It's Arteta's 100th game in the Premier League in charge against Fulham on Saturday.